So my name is Osama Dorias. I'm a senior game designer at Warner Brother Games in Montreal. I'm also the coordinator of the video game programs at Dawson College. I'm the co-founder and organizer of the Montreal Independent Game Awards.
VFX Lifestyle.
Can you tell me more about the diversity in the video game industry?
Yes, absolutely. I started, as I mentioned, in the industry here in Montreal 11 years ago, and I see a huge change already. We're not exactly where we should be right now. Granted, it's going to take time, but I worked in an environment that was mostly all people who looked the same and who came from the same background for years before I started seeing others. And we're talking about all marginalized people. Even, the ratio of women that worked with us was very low. Now it's much better. It's still not great, but it's much better than before. So things are getting better, especially because they're getting better across the board in all entertainment fields. Video games are kind of generally a little bit reactionary. We always look at others and see what they do, which with some exceptions. So it's a little bit of a shame because we can lead the way. We are culturally very important and we are a work of art, but we always tend to look at like movies and comics and other things and see what they do. And now that they are spearheading this and showing that there's a business case for diversity, for having representation in the games and having diversity in the workforce, and they're showing that this is actually more profitable because you're appealing to a wider audience. So the ethics reason has always been there, and some people rolled their eyes on it, but now even they can't fight back the business case for it. Both side by side, there's no reason not to have it. There is just none, other than you being not that great of a person, right? So it's getting better due to a lot of work of hardworking people. Like we have an organization in Montreal called Pixelles, and what they do is they train women so that women can be included into the video game workforce, and they have an amazing track record. Like whenever they have narrative design workshop, half of their people find jobs in the industry as writers and narrative designers, which is incredible. That's it's a very positive change. This organization only was formed 5-6 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago, they would not have been able to. The climate wasn't ready for it. So things are getting better. They're moving forward. I mean, even like at Warner Brothers right now on the main project in the studio, there are about 9 people who are director level, and 3 of them are women, 2 of them are people of color. This is something I've never seen in my career before. So people are starting to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And of course it's not 50-50 yet, but that's okay. Like the whole point is we're going towards something that's good. So we have to make sure that whenever something good is happening, we highlight that as well, that we're not just complaining about the bad. The bad is always going to be there. So it's fine. Let it be there. Let it just shrink into something that's insignificant, and eventually only the good will rise.
And what would be your First of all, I was curious to know what was the main obstacle for women or people of color to access those positions or to be at ease in this industry. What have you observed? And the other question after that is, I guess that if you're telling me about the fact that the structure was not ready for that, I guess that there's also a question of also mentality, maybe on the side of people of color and women. So can you just explain what you've seen?
Yes.
What was complicated and how your organization has been able to go beyond all these difficulties?
So there are a lot of different ways to approach it. So I'll just tell you my opinion on it. There were a lot of obstacles, but the main one for me is that people are just psychologically are more naturally inclined to hire or to promote people who are like them. And like them means different things for different people. So there are a lot of companies that look for cultural fit. And that's not necessarily a bad thing on its own, fitting in the culture, except for example, I don't drink alcohol. So if all of your out of work activities revolve around drinking, and you find out that I don't drink alcohol, maybe you'll be less inclined to be like, oh, maybe he won't get along with everyone at work, things like that. So there's just one thing. Same thing before in the video game industry. A lot of the activities that took place in places that were not very friendly towards women. So maybe they were less inclined to hire women because hey, maybe they can't come with us later when we go to all these establishments. So the first step that needed to happen is education. You need to explain to people that they did have these biases and that they were subconscious and they weren't even aware that they had these biases, and that but it's natural, it's not your fault. This is how, racism, for example, is systemic. It exists even if you don't think that you're racist. You have some of these behaviors in you, and like, it doesn't mean you're a bad person, it just means identify them and work hard against them and you'll do better. So this language actually just started developing a few years ago. This is actually pretty new. On an academic level, maybe it existed for a very long time, but on a professional level, on a corporate level, it's actually very new. This is a new thing, and we're seeing the positivity that that's bringing when people are like, oh, wait a sec, maybe I shouldn't look at the names on the CVs when I'm making my choice. Maybe I should just look at the education and the experience, and then the blind vetting of CVs. Oh wow, look at all these new candidates that I discarded before because I maybe assumed they couldn't speak the language because of their first name. Something along those lines. So that we have all these biases ingrained in us, regardless of, even people of color have this, even women have this. This is a human trait. A human trait is you try to hire people like you. So obviously the industry had a specific look, it had a specific type of person, so it's normal that those people were hiring other people like them. So what happened is affirmative action actually was very positive. Companies started saying, okay, you need to try to hire other people so we could break this. And what that did is two things. One is that it brought people like me, a person of color, in positions where I could hire other people who are like me as well, which is a positive trend. It also educated others, hey, I know one person who's Arab, maybe not all Arabs are bad, look, we're getting along. He might not drink alcohol or eat certain things when we go out, but look, we're friendly, he's a good person. So the next CV that pops up with like an Arabic name, might not be so hard. Same thing for women. Hey, maybe these activities that you're doing are not really inclusive for everybody. How about we do these other equally fun activities instead together? And so the industry is moving towards this in a very positive light. And a few people are still resisting, people who've known it how it was before, but they're becoming a minority. And like, I don't even work with anyone like that anymore. I know they exist, I hear stories, but like, I'm lucky right now. Like, Warner Brothers is so pro diversity that we don't even have this problem anymore. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to reach out at any time, and make sure to tag somebody in the comment section if you think they should watch that video.
VFX Lifestyle.